Good morning, our esteemed viewers. I welcome you on GBS Television, and this is your lovely program, which is called In Focus. In Focus is a program whereby we want to know more what is happening exactly around the world, around us. So today, I have one guest, and he's a special guest. His name is Dr. Peter Baofu. He is from USA. He has written 178 series of books, and also he has been doing interviews in more than 135 TV stations around the world. And today he is in Malawi and on GBS TV. He has got something which is very, very important, which can help you, and also it can empower you. So I hope that our viewers, you'll be there to watch this in Focus program so that you can benefit also through our guest, Dr. Peter Baofu. So, Dr. Peter Baofu, I would like to welcome you to Malawi, and especially on here, GBS TV. What is it that it has brought you on GBS TV? What is it that you want to talk about?
Well, just for introduction, I'm an American visionary and author of 179 books in all fields of knowledge in the social sciences, the natural sciences, the formal sciences, and the humanities in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture. And I have been in more than 130 different countries already around the world in all civilizations. And I have been interviewed on TV around the world in relation to my different visions of the human future in all fields of knowledge. So I do that because I would like to understand humanity on the ground, not just by reading books, let's say from the library or something like that. And I want to provide some realistic solutions to global problems affecting not just one country, one culture, but the entire humanity. And that's exactly what I do. And the reason that I come to Malawi is part of that global project that I'm doing. So in a way, that's very historically unprecedented for me, for anyone to do something like that.
Okay. So you have talked about global problems. People would like to know what exactly is the cause of those problems, or if you analyze them, what are these problems?
Well, there are a lot of different problems. Maybe I can, for the sake of convenience, I can divide them into domestic issues and global issues, and see how they affect each other in the economic dimension. Let's talk about the domestic first, and then we move on to the global dimension.
But when you talk, globally, there is what we call global economic.
Yeah.
So don't you think that it's also one of the causes, global economy is also causing the problem in Malawi? Because I've heard global politics. I've heard that some other countries, they have their policies which deliberately disturb the economies of the poor countries.
This is another one that I just mentioned at the beginning of my answering your question, and I said that they are domestic and global. There are also a lot of global issues which are affecting Malawi in a negative way, more negative than positive. Let me give just one example, the war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine is a proxy war between the West and Russia. Okay. Each of them, both of them, are using Ukraine for their own domination. Okay, it's not one versus the other. Both of them try to control Ukraine. And in the process, Ukraine is being destroyed in that war. Okay, now there are consequences. One consequence over here is that Ukraine and Russia, they export a lot of commodities and natural resources. Now the war broke out. Okay, some of the crops cannot be harvested. So the prices are going to go up for some of the food. And also fossil fuels. and all that. Gas, oil, and all the prices are going to go up. Why? Because the Western allies are imposing massive sanctions on Russia and do not buy anymore from Russia.
Yes.
But then the prices will go up. Look at Europe nowadays. You are crying about the prices.
Yeah.
The Europeans are also yelling right now about the high prices, about oil, gas, and all that. In the US too, you have some other problem. And not just them, the rest of the world, many of those countries in Africa, by the way. Just in case you do not know, do you know that South Africa now, they just said to Russia and Ukraine that we are trying to mediate and have a peace process for both of you. Why do they care? The reason that they care is because the war is affecting the prices of food and fuels in Africa. Many African countries are poor. They are importing a lot of commodities and all these fossil fuels from those countries. And now the prices go up, they suffer. Poor countries suffer because the rich countries are fighting.
Yes.
You talk about the global problem now. That affects Malawi too. The prices here are also going up. The fossil fuels, you go to the shop, for example, the prices are not that cheap, even for a local African country.
Yeah.
And that's a serious problem. That's why it's affecting you. Another problem is the sanctions. As you know, Western powers are kicking Russia out of the international transaction system, the SWIFT, and they ban a lot of import from Russia and sanctions any other countries who care to do business with Russia.
Yes.
Okay, they force everyone else to side with them. Now, that is one consequence is a lot of people now, a lot of countries now are trying to find alternative to the use of American dollars. Do you know what happened? Western powers have confiscated more than $600 billion of Russian foreign currency reserves in Western banks. They confiscate all of them, and the U.S. just passed a new law allowing the U.S. to use those money unilaterally. Now, if you are the person who invests or put all those money in foreign currency in the U.S. and all that, and they take all this money from you, do you like it?
No.
Okay, that's why a lot of people are afraid now. Look, I see along this, France and China a few months ago just signed an agreement for their export of natural gas in Chinese yuans.
Okay.
We are talking about France. France is a major ally of the U.S. Why is even France doing that? Because France they want to search for strategic autonomy from the U.S. This can happen to them too one day if they disagree with the U.S. Now, look at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia used to sell oil denominated in American dollars only. There is an agreement more than 40, 50 years ago. Now, they signed an agreement with China. Now they sell oils in Chinese yuans. Why did they not use American dollars? Because the Saudi prince, by the way, he's afraid now because he become more and more disagreeing with the U.S. And Biden called him the pariah in world affairs. Okay. So now Saudi Arabia try to get away from it. And they understand that eventually Saudi Arabia too will be the next target. If they ever disagree even more, they will put all this money, they confiscate them, they can sanction on them, so that they want to get away from it. Brazil, by the way, under Lula, just in case you follow the news, is also saying that they are asking BRICS now to set up a new international currency so that they can get away from the use of American dollars or euros. And Brazil and Argentina is doing that. Iran, Russia, and other countries are setting up what they call the Asian Crediting Union to settle all those transactions not in American dollars anymore, in other currency. In Southeast Asia, for example, ASEAN, they had the meeting, a summit a few weeks ago, and they made the announcement now they are setting up an Asian Monetary Union as an alternative. Why? Because everyone now is afraid of the use of American dollars. They weaponize American dollars now. They can take your money if you do anything which you disagree with them. And Euro too, by the way, because the EU is also imposing sanctions on other countries too. Look, people are looking for alternatives, not just one alternative, multipolar world. get away from it. And just in case you don't know, even in Africa, Eastern Africa and Western Africa, some of the countries now are also looking for alternative. Look at Zambia, look at Kenya, look at Ghana and all that, and Nigeria and Egypt. They are also talking about looking for alternative currency. That's one thing, de-dollarization. So that's affecting. Another one, by the way, is also a global issue, is the U.S. monetary system.
Okay.
Every time when the U.S., because the American dollar is the international currency, every time when the U.S. increase the interest rate, you have a massive outflow of capital from other countries to the U.S. because of the rise of the interest rate.
Okay.
So that means that many of those poor countries, including Malawi, but and African countries, are suffering now because all those capital that they need to invest are flowing out of the country. Sri Lanka, by the way, had a financial collapse a few weeks ago because of that policy.
Okay.
So some countries, the economy collapsed because of the U.S. monetary policy as an international currency. So that is consequences. And that's why what is happening internationally is affecting local economies. And that's why a lot of people now are talking about de-dollarization. We are moving in a new world order now.
Yes.
And that is, and Malawi too is also talking about that. Do you know why? Because Malawi now is experiencing a foreign reserve shortage. Do you know that?
Yes, we are.
And the government is thinking, what should we do now? Because without those reserves, without those foreign currency, you cannot buy things.
Yeah.
And in the older days, you can only use American dollars or euros or some other international currency to buy. But if you don't have those currency anymore, how can you buy? They don't accept your local money.
Yes.
Kwacha is not accepted internationally. So now they are looking for alternative currency to trade locally. And people are doing that. In Africa even. So this is what you mean by the global context. Yes. So the global context and the local context are affecting the economy in Malawi. You want to know why you are poor like this? Those are some of the major causes and consequences, and the solution too.
So in this case, because America is the biggest country, and in politically and also economically, but we as Malawians, we need to survive. So, as a doctor, Peter Baofu, you are in Malawi. What do you think we Malawians we should do? Should we fight against US, or what can be the solution?
I have already mentioned one solution domestically, and I can mention another solution internationally.
Take you away from Malawi, because the big countries are fighting, and that has also brought poverty to other countries. Now, as Peter Baofu, what is your advice? What do you want the world to do so that other countries can have that economic stand? What do you think, for example, America, China, what do you think they should do?
Unfortunately, contrary to what you may expect me to say, unfortunately, the world that we are facing is divided.
Yeah,
it's not unified.
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to talk to Western countries, they have their own view for their own interest. If you talk about the Eastern countries, they have their own views for their own interest. If you talk about, let's say, about African countries, they have their own interest too. Let me, because we're in Africa, so I can say a bit more about Africa. The position by South Africa is interesting because it stands for the spirit of some other African too countries. For example, the government of South Africa, in response to the Western pressure for them to side with the U.S. and the West against Russia, you know that Putin may come to South Africa.
Yes.
They may, so we are waiting. And a lot of Western powers are pressuring South Africa not to allow him. If they do, they should arrest Putin.
Yes.
Now that puts South Africa in a difficult position. On the one hand, South Africa always said, we remember Russia and the Soviet Union. When we suffer from apartheid, who was helping us?
It's Russia.
Not the Western powers.
Yes.
It was Russia, the Soviet Union, who was supporting the African fight against apartheid. And when you need them the most, they were not there. And the ones who were there were Russia. They help us when we needed them. Now they need us, we abandon them. Is that what you are asking us to do? So I was in South Africa a few weeks ago, and I spoke to a lot of people, and that is the common view by many people that I have met. Some of them disagree, but the majority of them said, no, how can we abandon Russia?
See.
They help us when we needed them. And now we have to abandon them now. And yet those people they asked us to sign with them, they were not with us when we asked them. They support apartheid at that time, including the US, France, Germany. And now they're asking us to help them. But I say, where were you when we needed you? You signed with the white racist regime. So a lot of South Africans, they remember the history. So now they are not willing to start. They say, just leave us alone. We're not starting with anyone.
Okay.
We don't support either side. And that's why South Africa say we offer to mediate the peace process between the West and Russia in Ukraine. That's why some of the African countries, just in case you do not know, offer a mediation process to Ukraine and Russia and the West and say, we Africans, we'd like to mediate for a peace process. There's something that you can do. Non-alignment. You don't side. Why? Because if you side with one side, the other side will punish you.
Yeah,
and then you will control by this side.
Yes.
But if you go to the other side, this side will punish you.
Yes.
Then this side will control you.
Yes.
So if you are weak, either way you go, you get punished and you get controlled. The best way is that you don't side with any side, you are nice to him, you are nice to him. If he tries to punish you, you ask him for help, but you don't side with any side. You don't go to war against any one of them by siding. This is exactly what Ukraine did. They signed with the Western allies. Now they get bombed out of the country. The country is totally destroyed in many places. Okay, is that what you want? And now Ukraine is more and more dependent on Western powers.
Yes.
But is that what you want? And the other side bomb the hell out of you. This side is controlling you. What is your freedom?
I want to ask you a
So
question.
that's why South Africa is taking a very interesting position and say we don't side with either side. We offer a peace process for you. You want to fight each other, we don't side with you to fight them because you escalate the war. Yeah, you see, if I help you now, I send troops so that we can go and fight them. You are escalating the war.
I see.
What you should do, de-escalate. Offer a peace process. Don't fight. I don't supply weapons. I don't supply weapons to you. I don't send soldiers to help you fight them, and I don't do the same thing to you. I want two of you to talk. Stop killing. Stop fighting. I help you. I don't side.
Okay.
I don't help you to fight them. I also don't help you to sanction them. I just stay out of it. Both of you want to fight each other. That's your own business. But me, I want to help. But I cannot come with you against the other side. Okay. Because you escalate, and when Russia and the West fight, become more escalating, you might have another world war, and that's even more dangerous than you would like to have.
Yes.
So that is one of the solutions from African countries over here. I say, learn from your neighbor, South Africa.
Okay.
By the way, not just South Africa, so many other countries nearby are also thinking like that too. That's why African countries, they don't really side with Western powers, also don't side with Russia. They try to like nice to both, but not commitment to any of them to fight.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for the detailed explanation. Our viewers, we also appreciate for being there to watch the Focus program. I'm sure you are getting the details of, from our guest, Dr. Peter Baofu. Yeah, he has experienced a lot with, what is happening around the world, global economy, politics. So, as Malawians, I'm sure that what we have heard today, also we can think about it, and also we can see the world through what we have heard in today's program in Focus. Thank you very much for coming on GBS Television.
Okay.
We appreciate for your time, I hope that next time, please come again on GBS TV so that we can talk more about world politics, world economy.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Thank you, our viewers, for being with us on GBS Television. Until next time we meet, please stay tuned.